Afternoon, everybody. Just put myself there. Kimberly, if you can make me co-host, that would be fab. And also, I just need to make myself in the middle, because at the moment I've got Hayley O'Reilly in giant letters in the middle of my screen. I don't think she wants that. So I can put myself as the speaker view. That'd be perfect. Now everybody gets to see my head large. That's just what you needed this afternoon, isn't it? Good afternoon, everybody. So the session this afternoon is all about the 3 biggest mistakes that new business owners make. I would love you to, as I go through the session, please stick in the chat if you've got any questions. It's nice to see you too, Nisa. I didn't realize that we had the A-list here today. That's very cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to ask any questions as they arise. We're going to spend a maximum of 60 minutes together. The session is being recorded so that we can make it available to those people that have not been able to jump on the call live this afternoon. And I'm going to get into it very shortly. But first of all, to say hi. My name's Simon. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Rebel School. Now, this event is free. In fact, everything that we do is completely free, and it remains free. And it's really important that I share that with you, because I bet there's more than one person on this webinar that is expecting some sort of hard sell with about 15 minutes to go. Have you ever done those 3 things where they go, right, now you've had all of our free content, we've now got this one-time special offer, and the price is normally £25 million, but just for today, for the next 15 minutes, there's only 4 spaces, and it's just for £400 each. So I'll put my bank details in the chat, and then you're ready to go. Has anyone been on a webinar like that before? Yes, some of you. Yes, I know. I feel your pain. So have I. This is not one of those. We've got a completely different way of doing it, and that's why I'm going to share a bit more detail about that as we go through. All right. So John says, I will admit I did expect. I know, mate. I get it. I completely get it. But I'll explain about the Rebel School, who we are, how we're able to do what we do for free, and then where you can go for some extra help and support and all that stuff after today. So really, the hour that we're going to spend together today is really just a bit of a taster. So you can hopefully get lots and lots of information that will be useful to you. I'm definitely going to trigger a different way of thinking for some of you, I'm sure. And we'll see how that goes. And hopefully we'll get a chance to answer some questions too as well. Lovely to see some friendly faces. I see 1 or 2. Hello, Cassandra. Nice to see you. Oh my goodness, we've got the Isle of Wight Mafia are here as well. Lovely to see you, Pia. So we've got a few people on the call that have been through a Rebel course before. Please, can you just stick in the chat if it's the first time that you've engaged with the Rebel School in any way at all? Just please put me if it's the first time you've been here. And thank you to everybody that's got their cameras on. It really helps. I don't know if you've ever tried to do a Zoom call with lots of empty rectangles before. Like, it's really difficult. Like, is anybody there? I don't know. Is anyone listening? Does anyone care? Is anyone laughing at my jokes? No. Well, at least if you've got your cameras on, I can tell that my jokes aren't landing. Great. Good to see you for the first time. Marianne, Chelsea, Lucian, Olga, Philip, Lorianne. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Jack and Chris. That's all right, Les. I'll let you off. Natalie and Lenovo. And whoever you are behind that, and Lucy. It's great to see you here for the first time. I think what this means for me is fresh meat. You know, it's interesting. Like, we're going to get into it. You're going to have hopefully, if I was a betting man, I'd say you're about to learn some things and a different way of thinking about business that was quite fresh. And I'll trigger some new thoughts and some new ideas. Just before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about me and the Rebel School, so that you know that you're in safe hands. Right? So the Rebel School has been running for 10 years. It's our 10th birthday this year. In that time, we've trained 20,000 people in 7 countries. Most of our work is in the UK, and currently we're running courses that are training between 4,000 and 5,000 people a year, either on Zoom or in the room. People are coming through our programs to learn about the practical skills and the things to do, the first steps that you take when you've got a business idea and you're trying to figure it out. Like, this isn't our first rodeo, folks. Like, we've been doing this a long time. And the reason that's important is this: there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of, thank you, John, hundreds of business advisors and coaches and mentors and trainers out there teaching business who have never actually run a business. And some of those people are encouraging people to take on debt to start a business, write a business plan, get a loan. Like, the Rebel School is the complete opposite of that. Business is about having money, not owing money, right? And what I wanted to do is to give you a few nuggets of wisdom so that when you come off of this call, you'll have a clear sense of direction as to what's the next thing to do. What's the first thing to do? Or maybe if you've already started, but you're not getting the results that you want, maybe this is about saying, what's my next move? How can I increase the chances of me making money, making a sale, and all of that stuff? So, quick question just to help me calibrate where you guys are at. My question is, what stage of business are you at? If you've already got something up and running, please type the word started in the chat. If you haven't started yet, but you're ready to start, put ready. And if you're still trying to figure out life, which business idea, I don't even know if I want to start a business, do I? I've got loads of ideas and I can't choose. Just put getting there in the chat, right? Just so I can get a sense of what we've got here. So we've got, here we go. Started but struggling. That's all right, Chris. I get it. Been there. I know what that's like. Lots of readies and started. Okay, this is interesting. So if you're getting there, it looks like it's a real mix. Okay, good. Right. Well, in that case, then I'll go with plan A. It looks like plan A is going to work. Now, as I say, as I go through this, I'll be asking you to stick some questions in the chat. I might trigger a few thoughts and questions. I will do my best to get to all of them. There's a reasonable chance that there'll be more questions and not enough time to cover the answers. So what we're going to do is harvest all of the questions, and over the course of the next few days, we'll put the answers that I don't get to, we'll whack them on our social media. So follow us on Instagram or Facebook, and then you'll be able to see the videos as they pop up there. Okay. So as I mentioned right at the start, I'm a co-founder of the Rebel School. I started my first business in 2003 and spent the next 10 years trying, failing, trying again, having some better results, still not enjoying it, getting a job for a bit, starting a side hustle, leaving my job, leaving the best career I've ever had, making the most money I've ever earned for some ridiculous idea about starting a business, failed that, tried something else, that worked quite well. And I just, for the last, I don't know, since I was about, I'm not going to give you the number, for about 15 to 20 years, I've been experimenting with business ideas. And also, you know, my business partner too, we started this business because we saw that people are being encouraged to take on debt to start a business. And we think this is wrong. This is no longer necessary. You can start a business in 30 minutes in the 21st century. You just need somebody to show you how. You definitely don't need a business plan, and you definitely don't need debt to get started. And like we often think, you know, you go, all right, I'm starting a business. I need all of these things in place. I need bank accounts. I need to figure out my legal structure. I need to figure out my tax. I need to figure out insurance. I got this giant to-do list. I've got amazing news. Don't start there. You don't need any of that stuff yet. You don't need any of that stuff until you start when you get over the line and you start getting customers, because up until the moment you're getting customers, it's just an experiment anyway. Have it in your head as a mini experiment. I'm just running an experiment. Like if you put all that pressure on yourself and go, I'm starting a business, suddenly the thing has to work. Suddenly you need all of the legal stuff covered. But if you're just running an experiment, I'm just going to try this stuff out with my friends and family first, you know? Thank you for catching that, Pia. I just saw Lucy's comment there. I've done some research, nearly ready, but not sure what to do and whether to borrow. Lucy, I tell you, the short answer of what to do is finish the end of this webinar. The next thing to do is to jump onto at least day 1 of a Rebel School course. And if you still want to borrow money at the end of day 1 of a Rebel School course, then I can't help you. You will get enough. You will get enough from a day 1 of a course to show you. And I'm going to touch on it today. I'll touch on it a little bit today because it is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. So let's dive into that then, folks. Here we go. Let's make sure I've got clicking the right buttons here. I am a professional. I do know how to use Zoom, and I do know how to use PowerPoint. Right. Actually, I'm going to ask you first of all. I'm curious to know what you guys think. What do you think? What do you guys think that the number 1 mistake that people make when they start a business? What do you think is? Pick a thing, stick it in the chat. What's your best guess? Like you've had experiences. Some of you are not new to business. Some of you I bet have experimented with ideas before. I can see the whites of your eyes. Like I know some of you have tried a few things over the years. You've had a few dabbles in things, haven't you? You bought a box load of something off of Alibaba or Amazon. You've had a go at shifting it, and it's not quite worked out how you thought it was going to, and so on. Anyone that said money, you've been looking at my slides. What else have we got here? Andrea, you're definitely on the right lines for my number 1. And Okan, just so you know, you're replying directly to me. You might want to change that to everybody because not everyone can see your answers, only me. Kathy says scatterbrain, not knowing where, lack of customers, expectations, or people that like your products. Says Jacqueline, underestimating the need. There's definitely a bit of that, Lucy. I would say if I was going to do the top 6 things that mistakes that people make, thinking you're going to get quick results was probably be in my top 6, but it hasn't made my top 3. Okay, great. Right, let's get into this. And I'm going to show you what my first answer is. Biggest mistakes that people make when they start a business is mistake number 1, they don't focus. They try and do too many things at once. And I'll understand why. Part of the reason why I think for many people is they're sort of hedging their bets a bit. They're kind of saying, I don't know if any of these ideas are going to work, so I'll run all of them at the same time, just in case they don't work. And at least I've got a chance for one of them to work. But it's kind of like the opposite way around. If you start to spread yourself too thinly, then nothing works. Let me give you a little example. We had somebody that came to one of our Kent courses, and what happened was I said to her, tell me about your business. What is it that you do? She said, well, I'm a dance teacher. And I went, okay, cool. What kind of dance? And she said, well, I do Latin American dancing. It's like authentic kind of salsa dancing. Okay, great. And she said, and ballet. Okay. And tap and disco. In fact, I teach all sorts of dance. Any dance that you can think of, I teach it. And I'm also a yoga teacher and a life coach. And I've just got my Reiki practitioner's course. And I'm also a sculptor and a painter. And I make things out of recycled material, and I make bags. And so I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute. I said, so you sound really busy. Are you really busy? She said, no, I haven't got any customers for anything. And I said to myself, I think I know why. And I said to her, and for those of you that think focus might be a challenge for you, I'm going to give this different levels of focus. The first stage of focus is to pick one idea, guys. Just pick one idea. And it's and how do you choose? I'm going to answer that question, Andrew. That is a good question. That's what I mean by different layers of focus. So in your context, focus means I'm going to choose jewelry making as my business. That's the first layer of focus. And this will be helpful to those of you that have got I'm thinking about my yoga business idea. I'm thinking about becoming an artist. I've got this coaching idea. And also I could set up a cleaning business, couldn't I? The first step is to pick one of those broadly. Like, is it the jewelry? Is it cleaning? Is it whatever it is? How do you decide? You decide on a few factors. Number one, you decide on what out of all of your ideas lights you up the most. Because if you're not excited for your business, nobody else is going to be. And if you want to make money doing something that doesn't excite you, you might as well go and get a job because it's a lot easier. So I guess that's my first kind of port of call here, is choosing an idea that lights you up. The second part of this decision is choosing something that you can actually start straight away based on where you're at. You need to be starting a business based on where you are, not where you wish you were. So quite often I'll get messages from people that will say, like, I definitely need money to start a business because, I'm starting a bakery business and I need the equipment, I need a shop, I need a van, I need branded clothing, I want an apron with my name sewn in and all that sort of stuff. And they have this giant list of things and they say, I can't start my business because I haven't got any money. And I said, well, you're trying to start a business that you're not in a position to start right now unless you've got a spare 40,000 quid lying around. If you've got a spare 40,000 quid and you don't mind losing it, crack on and start that business. But actually, if you want to start a baking business and you want to do it rebel style and you haven't got 40 grand and you don't want to get in debt, you've got to dial the business idea back to something that you can start right now. So then I'd say, like, if you're passionate about being a baker, pick the favorite thing that you love to bake and go and sell it. Doesn't matter whether it's bread, cakes, cupcakes, other baked goods, whatever it is. Start with what you can do right away rather than hook your dreams onto something that you're still some way off from being able to begin, right? So for me, focus is as much about choosing an idea that you like as it is picking one that you can actually start, or dialing it down a bit so that you can start right away and work towards your bigger dream. But the fundamental part of it is, if you don't put your energy into one thing to begin with, then nothing's going to happen. And if anyone's come across an American entrepreneur called Gary Vaynerchuk, he's online as Gary V. He's probably, this is the one thing that I would disagree with him on. He says you can start as many businesses as you like and do it all at once, said the multi-million-dollar earning business owner with a team of 400, right? If you are not a multi-million-dollar business owner with a team of 400, sure, you can add other businesses later, but the best way to get loads of things done is to get things done one at a time. And, if you've got, I'm not saying that you can't start any other businesses. I'm saying pick one to start. And then once you've started that business and you're making money, then you could pay someone else to do the things that you don't enjoy doing, that you could outsource, but you've got cash to do it. If you're trying to start a second and a third and a fourth business on top of a business that isn't currently working, then you're just loading the pressure on something that's just ain't going to happen for you, right? It's like 10xing the problem. If you've got a business working, sure, go and start other things. But I think we need to be realistic about our time and about our energy levels and about putting your focus in something that is going to increase the chances that you get the results that you want. And by the way, even if you don't, at least if you focused, you'll get the learning out of it. If you've only dabbled in it, you won't get the learning. Okay, so this is about rolling our sleeves up, picking one idea and leaning into that, treating it as a mini experiment. Okay, right. Now let's go back to the antidote. I got a bit more information that's going to help you. So what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to stick on the screen the opposite way around of thinking. If you're someone that's got a million ideas and you're trying to do them all at once, don't do that. Do this instead. So what I've just talked about, first thing you're going to do is pick one idea and say to myself, this is my first mini experiment. This is going to help you focus. The second thing that you're going to do, and this is what, with our jewelry example, I'm just going back to, I think that was Andrew, wasn't it? Yeah. So the next step is, within your idea, what you're going to do is to choose one product or one service within your idea that's your best guess of what you think customers are going to want. It's your best guess of the product that you love making the most. It's the thing that you go, out of all of the things that I could sell, this one makes most sense. And it's a little bit like, I'm just going to give you a very light introduction to niche marketing. We'll spend an afternoon on this on our course, folks. And actually, we come back to it quite a few times throughout our programs. But the thing that I'm going to invite you to think about is, what product or service to put at the tip of your arrow. What's the thing that makes you stand out? What's the thing that's different? What's the thing that excites you? What's the thing that makes sense? There's not really one right or wrong answer. It's just your best guess of what makes sense right now, based on what you can do, what you think people will want to buy, what you can start straight away. Quick example for you, right? Creative business. Met this woman in Nottingham. I said, so tell me about your business ideas. And she said, well, I love making things, and I've got lots of different things that I make. I do recycled stuff. She said, I'm an artist. I make stuff out of ceramics. Like, I'm really into pottery, and I do watercolors and portraits, and I also do pet portraits. It's another one of those, like, my ears and my eyes are bleeding with all this information. And this woman, I know that she's going to networking events. Like, we've all been to events, and people go, so what do you do? And she's still talking after 25 minutes. She ain't going to make any sales. So I said to her, like, I want, like, the love heart thing that I've just shown you. Let me show you again. I said to her, out of all of the things that you do, all of your creative talents, which is the thing that lights you up the most, which makes sense? And she said to me, I love all of my business ideas equally, and you're not going to make me focus. Right? Like, she was sent to test me. I know it, because she knew what I was trying to do. And she was giving me that, like, if she didn't have any ideas at all, that's a different problem. It's a nice problem to have. If you've got lots of ideas, that's great. That's part of the process of, grassroots entrepreneurship and making your own money. She didn't have any ideas, then we got a bit of a different problem, but she had loads of ideas. And she said to me, Simon, she said, darling, I'm an artist. And you're not going to make me focus, because actually I love dabbling in different things, because that's what gives me my passion and my energy and my creativity and my blah, blah, blah. And I went, sure, but you'll be skint forever. So she said, shut up, you horrible man. You're not going to make me focus. And I went, okay, I get it. You want to do like 10% pottery, 10% recycled denim, 10%, and so on. So I asked her a different question. And if you're struggling to choose, this one might help. I said to her, out of all of your business ideas, your artistic and creative talents, which one makes you stand out? Which one's different? Which is the thing that's, unusual when you walk down the market of other makers and crafters and artists? What's going to make you stand out? She said, well, I do these wooden handbags. It's like, I'm not a handbag expert. And I said, so you make handbags out of wood? I had visions of people like towing these oak, down the street. She said, you stupid man, these are very light wood, and I shake them and I craft them. She said, they really stand out. They look really cool. See what you did there, John? I see we had the same comic teacher. And yeah, do you know what? It really struck me. She said, everybody loves my bags. Everyone always talks about my bags. I said, well, how many have you made? She said, 3. And I went, well, what if you, just as an experiment, because remember, this isn't your business, it's just an experiment. What if that was your business for the next week or so? What if we leaned into that, and everything else was kind of other stuff that you did and hobbies and creative pursuits, but put the bag at the tip of your arrow. And when someone says, what do? You say, I make designer handbags out of wood for women that like to have a little bit of a different look. What if that was your business? Try that on. And she came in the next day. She said, I've got a problem. I said, what is it? She said, I've sent my son to school covered in sawdust. She said, I made 3 bags last night. They look amazing, but I haven't got my own workshop space. And I wish I did. And do you know what? I'm not even sure if I want to make wooden handbags all the time. It was kind of okay, but it didn't really light me up. She said, but what it did teach me is I can make bags out of recycled jeans. Give me your best pair of jeans. I'll turn it into a handbag. So instead, she swapped it around. She put that at the tip of her arrow. She only talks about the handbags that she makes out of denim until she gets a customer. As soon as she gets a customer, she can then talk about all of the other stuff that she does. But if you talk to customers, brand new customers, about more than one thing, for everything that you say, you reduce their trust in you by 10%. Like imagine like you went to the hospital and you said like I'm having a few headaches, and they do a scan and they go, oh yeah, you need some brain surgery. And you meet your brain surgeon for the first time. And you go, oh, so you're a brain surgeon? Yeah, I'm a brain surgeon, and I also specialize in feet and hands and breathing, and I'm also an artist and a ceramic expert. And you go like, wait a minute, I don't know if I want, you don't sound like you're spending an awful lot of time doing the thing that you said that you did. Now, I guess the point I'm making, folks, when you're talking to your customers, if they don't trust you, if they don't think this has got all of your passion and energy and this is what you do, you're going to lose sales for every extra idea that you tell them. All right? Pick one, live with it for a bit, try and sell one product or one service first, flog them your other stuff later. So once she shifted a few of her recycled denim designer handbags, what she's able to do then is say, hey, like I also do some art. Do you want to have a look at my art? Because she's already got the customer. Then she can sell her other stuff later. But this diagram that I'm putting on the screen for you folks now is like, this is like home. If you ever get lost in your business and you go, I'm a bit stuck, I'm not quite sure which direction to go in, I'm not getting the results that I want, this is the diagram that I'll if I was sat next to you, I go, well, let's go through this step by step. Have you picked something you love? Yes or no? Have you focused on one business idea and picked one product or service? And next, have you figured out who your target customer is? Because if the answer to either of those questions is no, then that's one of the reasons why you're not getting the results that you want. Please stick it in the chat, the answer to this question. What do you think is the number one thing that people say to me when I say, you've got to choose a target customer? They say, yeah, but I don't want to focus on one kind of customer because. Why don't people like to choose one kind of customer? What do you reckon? Stick it in the chat if you think you know, and I'll get the next slide ready. It's applicable to any kind of business, Dawn. I'm going to give you some service examples too. James, 100%. It removes possible customers, says the calm charm. I love that. They think they'll get more customer by being open. Yeah, they think that it's FOMO, isn't it? Fear of missing out. I don't want to focus on one kind of customer, because if I do that, then I'm missing out on all these opportunities to sell. But it's a paradox. It's the opposite. If you don't focus, then your promotion blends in with all of the other marketing that's out there. And we forget, right? We forget that we don't actually need that many customers to be a life-changing number. Right? For some of us, 3 or 4 customers a month would change everything. So let's stop trying to sell to everybody, pick a target audience, and tailor the message to what they want to hear. Tailor the message to the problem that your product or service solves. Right? And I guess like I've got a slight caveat, a little disclaimer on that. And Liddell, you've just highlighted it brilliantly. Now, most people skip out that step. So the thing that Liddell's put in the chat, I was going to sell to friends and family first. I freaking love that you said that. That's absolutely fantastic, because most people don't want to do that. Most people skip that step out. Most people find it a little bit icky. Not everyone's in a position to do that. But here's what I'm going to say to you. The reason why people will buy something from you is if they know you, like you, and trust you, right? So your friends and family, hopefully you've got those three things covered already. The whole point of marketing is to get strangers to know you, like you, and trust you. And you don't do that off of one Facebook post, right? And I think I see lots of people get really frustrated that their Facebook ain't working for them. They go, like, I've done 3 Facebook posts. I've got 2 likes. One of them was from my mum and one of them was from my cat. Like, and I've done this like every week for the last 6 weeks and nothing's happening. Well, it takes like 15 to 20 times to build trust with someone online if they're a complete stranger. I need to see you showing up regularly to build trust. Like, marketing is like a process of building trust over time, over a number of different methods. Now, there's ways that you can speed it up. You can shove people into taking action. And there's 1 or 2 people on this call that have done that very effectively. But here's the thing. Step 1, friends, family, co-workers, former co-workers, neighbors, people that you know from the club that you used to be a member of, like all of the people in your network are potential customers waiting for you. And before we jump into target audience, by having those conversations with the people that you know, you are going to learn who your target audience is if you haven't figured it out yet. Because lots of us get it wrong first time round, and that's all right. I want you to be prepared to get things wrong. Like, you're choosing a different path by starting a business. It's not all going to be a downhill race. And if it is downhill, there's some bumps that you're going to hit. And that's all right. That's part of the process. Be prepared to, it's like sailing analogy, right? I'm from the South originally. Sailing analogy. I get seasick, but you'll get this. Like, if you're in a yacht and you're trying to get from Southampton to the Isle of Wight and you've got a sail, you're probably not going to go there in a straight line. You're going to have to adjust the sail. You're going to kind of tack your way across to the island. You're not going to do it in one straight line. And to me, that's what business is. I used to think, hey, I've got a business idea. Off I go. Doesn't work like that, because you don't know all the answers. Like, if it's obvious what all of the steps are in the journey, then it's not your journey. It's someone else's journey. And I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, what's going to light me up the most? What's the product or service? Like, if I could choose one thing. So let's take the example of, who was it? I can't remember who it was. Let me find out. Dawn. So Dawn said, would this refer to administration and PA service? Absolutely. Now, Dawn's business idea, administration and PA service. I'm saying pick one service within that idea as your lead arrow. Like, what's your best guess of the number one thing that your customers are most likely to want help with? So, for example, you could go, well, the thing that I love doing is running someone's diary, right? Because I'm expert at it. And that's what I'm going to go out with. I'm going to lead with being a PA. Or it might be actually like your experiences is more on the finance side. And the service that you could offer is help mischievous business owners that are terrible with receipts and invoices get some order over their finances to help them with their books. Or it might be actually the thing that you really want to do the most is a phone answering service. Or it might be the thing that you really want to do is, I don't know, something else. Maybe there's graphic design or social media management or handling emails. Like, whatever is the service that you think you're brilliant at, go talk about that. Talk about that to everyone that you know. And this is like when Liddell said friends and family, I know some of you go, oh, I don't really, that's a bit, I understand that emotion. Let me tell you a quick story about someone from Hartlepool. She was an artist that came one of our courses. She said, I'm not selling my art, I'm selling a bespoke service where people are going to commission me to paint something for them. And I was doing this friends and family bit with her, and she went, but I don't want to be that person that contacts my boss. I've not spoken to him for 5 years. And now you want me to ring up and go, hey, how are you? Would you like to buy my art? Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is reconnect with as many people in your network as you can. And then you say to them, hey, it's been ages since we've chatted. You want to catch up? What are you up to? What are you doing? How are the kids? Did you ever change jobs? Last time I spoke to you, have a little chat and then go, so what are you up to? And you go, wow, I've just launched a business. Well, at least I'm having a go anyway. In fact, can I test my pitch out on you? Before I, release my business idea to strangers, I just want to try it out on you. I want to get your feedback. Please, can you help me? No one ever says no. So this is called a soft pitch, right? So you soft pitch to people. And at the end of the pitch, you go, so what do you think? How can I make that better? I tell you what, it'd be brilliant if you could share that on your social media. Can I send you a post to stick on your Facebook? Is there anyone that you know that I could chat to and test my pitch out on them too? Right. So this is a soft pitch. And she did a soft pitch on her boss. She'd not spoken to him for 5 years. And at the end of the call, he went, I think that was a really, really good pitch. But I tell you what, how much do you charge for your art? Because I've always wanted to own my own piece of original art. And like her face was like, oh, it's £750, depending on the size, was what her answer was, right? So interesting that she made a sale from that. Now, I can't guarantee you're going to make a sale, but I can guarantee that if you don't speak to the people that you already know in your network, like, you're leaving cash on the table, folks. You are leaving cash on the table. And what's brilliant about friends and family and co-workers and former co-workers is it doesn't matter if you decide you don't want to carry on with the business, right? This diagram that I'm sharing with you here is mini experiment methodology. Like, it's just an experiment. And at the end of the experiment, you can say, well, did I make money? Yes or no? Did I like it? Yes or no? Do I want to repeat it? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, great. Looks like you got a business. If the answer is no, go back to this and repeat. Like, what do I need to change? Do I need to change the product or service? Do I need to change the target audience? And the final bit here is, do I want to change the action? I'm going to talk about action in a bit more detail in a second. Now, our sweet spot in the middle of that diagram is the overlap between those three circles and the heart of the love heart. If I've picked something I love, if I've leaned into one kind of product or service, if I've got my target audience and I'm taking loads of action to get customers, I 100% guarantee you will get results. If you can't answer one of those questions clearly, that will be the reason why you're not getting the results that you want. It's either clarity on what you're selling, clarity on your target audience, or the action that you've taken ain't working. All right. And that for me is a very long-winded way of going. So, number one, focus. Number one, focus. Sorry, did I say this was an hour? I think we could probably go on to about Wednesday of next week. Would that be all right? You haven't got anything to do, have you? Yes, Simon, I'm trying to grow my business. Instead, I'm stuck here talking to you. Right, so let's go on to anyone that said money. I'm going to deal with this one quite quickly, folks, because you've already got a sense of what my view this one is. Second mistake people that make is that they think they need money, and that either stops them from starting because they go, well, I haven't got that money and I can't access that money, so I can't start my business, can I? Right? Sometimes it actually stops people. And I guess the other part to this is for those people that do start and then spend money anyway, what it actually prevents them doing is it prevents them from tacking their way across the sea. It prevents them from owning a mistake and going, no, that didn't work, did it? Because if you've spent loads of money, it's painful. Like, it's like, I can't change direction now because I've just spent all this money. That's when the risk of getting it wrong becomes painful. And by the way, if any of you on this call, if I'm triggering you with some of these things and you go, some of you, because it always happens on the course, they go, I wish I'd met you 7 years ago because I blew 15 grand on something that. I get it. I've been there, folks. I get it. My first business, I call it my £23,000 MBA. Like, ouch. I spanked the equity in my flat to start a business. So you name it, I've tried all the different methods. I've tried leaving jobs. I've tried going part-time. I've tried side hustle. I've tried leaving jobs again. I've tried it bootstrapping by spending no money, and I've tried by spending loads of money. I've tried using other people's money. Kind of prefer that. But here's the thing that I want you to think about. You do not need money to start a business. You might need to shift your business idea a bit first so that you can work towards your bigger vision, right? But to begin with, minimum amount of money. So many people have been through our course and spent zero on starting a business, which is like, that's completely possible to do that now. And that's one of the things that we do on our course. Day one, we encourage people to bootstrap. That means just pulling your business up by the boots. You don't need money. What you need is a bit of creative thinking. And actually that process of figuring out how to start something for free is fantastic, because that teaches you how to think differently. If you want to change the way you make money, you have to change the way you think. Take it from me. I didn't start a business. I didn't even really know what entrepreneurship was, apart from some guy with a beard that used to go up in balloons every 6 weeks. Like, I thought that's what an entrepreneur was. I didn't like, I was a career guy as an employee. I had, 10 years in a successful career, got to 30 and went, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, I want to try something. I got loads of ideas. I want to figure them out. I want to have a go at being my own boss. I don't like being told what to do, apparently. So I needed to find a new way of earning money. So here's the thing then. What that did for me, by learning how to bootstrap, and these are just some quick tips. We'll do this in lots of detail on the course. Day one of a course, folks, we go into lots of detail, how you can get the stuff that you think you need for free. If you can't get it for free, you borrow it. If you can't borrow it, then you barter. If you can't barter, you jump on eBay and you sell a bunch of stuff that you've got lying around the house that you don't need anymore, because that creates a nice little slush fund for you. And you can use that money instead. Don't use your current account, because that's where your rent and your bills come from. Use a little pot of money that you create just by selling. And it teaches you the skills of selling, because nobody teaches us how to sell. Like, I don't remember sales GCSE, right? So we've got to teach ourselves. We've got to learn those skills ourselves. And then the final one of bootstrapping is that you're selling in advance. Basically, you're getting paid up front for something that you haven't even made yet. Is it possible to do that? Absolutely. Like, you can buy, people buy houses for hundreds of thousands of pounds that haven't been built. I think that's fascinating. Like, you turn up in a field, there's a porter cabin in the field, and the salesperson hands you a brochure and points at a muddy field and go, that's your dream home. No, it isn't. It's a field with sheep in it. Yeah, but it's going to be your dream home. And if you sign here, and if you pay us a deposit of whatever the scary number is, you can own this plot of land that's going to become a house. Well, look, if you can buy a house for £500,000 that hasn't been built yet, I'm damn sure I can buy a t-shirt, a hoodie, some PA services. You might not get all of the money in advance, but you can definitely get some deposits. You can definitely get some 50%. Right? So pay me 50% now, and then you pay me the rest when I deliver the product or I complete the service for you. Right? So I had a web design business for a couple of years in 2006. As soon as I realized that customers don't always do what they say they're going to do, I started charging people up front. So like, we do 50% up front, and then I deliver the first draft. We do the next 25% after 6 weeks. And then the final payment means that I put your website live and hand over the keys to the website to you. And that's how I used to run it. But to me, like, the thing about selling your value, selling before you've made anything, basically means use your customers' money to grow your business instead of yours. Now, I don't know about you, but that excites me much more. All right. And it's much like, the only thing you're risking is a bit of time and a bit of a dented ego if it doesn't work. Definitely don't risk your money. And I remember I was in a city in an African country, and I was in Namibia delivering a business course in Windhoek, right? It was the obvious place to go after Swindon. We went from Swindon to Windhoek. And I got this woman in the audience. Her name's Florence. She's 19 years old. And she's folding her arms on this bit when I'm talking about bootstrapping and getting paid in advance. She said, I live in the poorest part of the city. I live in a township called Katatura. It might work in London's sunshine, but it ain't going to work here. And like, it was interesting because I was curious. I'm going, well, maybe there's a cultural thing here that I don't know about. There's a trust thing where people aren't going to hand over cash for nothing. And I said to her, well, what if, and her business, by the way, she wanted her own clothing brand. She'd done a logo and she wanted to stick it on T-shirts and hoodies and hats, but she couldn't afford to get any of them made herself. So I said to her, well, use your customers' money. They can pay up front. And she said, no one's going to give me the money up front. So I said, what about 50%? What if you showed the designs to your customers and you said, you can own one of these, tell me your size, the price is whatever it is, but you pay me half now. So you're de-risking it for the customer and they can see the whites of your eyes. Half now. And then when I go and get the hoodie made, and then when I deliver the hoodie, you pay me the rest, and then you get your clothes. And like she was like this, and she went, maybe that could work. Maybe I'll try that. And I went back the following year. She's in the front row. She's been invited back as a guest speaker at this conference I was on because she basically funded her way through education. And like, it's a ridiculous story. Her parents run an orphanage inside that township, and it is like proper corrugated iron township kind of place, and people are desperately poor. So she's donating money to an orphanage. She's paying for her education, and it's all because she went, I'll take some action. I'll focus on one product, and I'll figure out who my target customers. And she went into colleges and universities and pitched the thing. Right. So it really is, bootstrapping is the same for a service as it is a product. Right. So what you do is, like, if you're offering a therapy business or a massage or readings, you get people to pay in advance. Like I may have engaged with the services of a clairvoyant recently, twice in the last 2.5. It's fascinating, weird, so weird. Right. And I was never into, that's not really me. I was never into that stuff, but oh my days, so interesting. So I get an email from the woman that says there's a 50% off deal for the next week. I go, oh, I've had an email from this person. I open the email. I save myself 50%. Boom. I'll book the reading right now. I click the link, takes me through to our website, and I pay straight away. And I can choose the date that I can book and so on. I've paid up front. Same with the massage business. Same with readings. Same with PA services. You know, book your first month here. My terms are, as a new customer, the price is going to be £500 a month. But as a new customer, you pay me on the first of the month in full. Like this sort of small business mentality of thinking that we need to deliver the thing first. I used to think this too, and then invoice you and then wait 30 days to get paid. Like, no, get paid up front in full if you can, or at least in part. Little trick for this one. If you want to if money is a key issue for you and you go like, I'm a bit concerned about money, here's how you do it. You say to your customers, the price is, let's say for a reading, the price is 50 quid. But if you book in advance and pay in full, I can do you a £5 discount or a £10 discount. So you'll save yourselves £5 or £10. So you can exchange a little bit of the profit, for getting the money up front. Use it as leverage because everybody likes a deal, don't they? It's £50. When you pay up front, it's 40. So that's another way of thinking about it, and hopefully that helps you. One last thing, folks, and I'm going to invite you to pop any questions in the chat whilst I'm talking. So if you don't think I've answered a question, if you've got a burning question, we've got 10 minutes. I'm going to cherry pick the questions that will be useful for everybody to hear the answer to, and then I'll chat to Kimberly afterwards about how we can give the answers to the other questions that you've asked. So if you've typed a question and I haven't seen it, please retype if you think you need to know the answer. You're welcome, James. I tell you what, I do that thing where I go, I've only got 60 minutes. I'm going to pack as much value as I can in 60 minutes. But remember, like, we do 2-week courses, pal. So you don't need to do everything that I've said. Come off of this call, take a deep breath, jump on one of our programs. And like, there's a few people on this call that have been through 1 or 2 of our courses before. Like, if you've been through our course before and you think it's reasonable value for money, as in it's free, and it was kind of worth it for your time, you got something from it, please nod furiously at the camera so that people can see, or please go, no, Simon, it was a crap course. Like, either or, I don't care. You can say whatever you want. I'll answer your questions in a sec. Beautiful. Right. Good. Thank you for popping the questions in there. Thank you, Nisa. I'll pay you later. It's so lovely to see you. Right. One last thing then, folks. Mistake number 3. I promise you 3 mistakes. Number 1, they don't focus. Number 2, they think they need money. Number 3, they don't take enough of the right action. What do I mean by the right action? Well, the right action is all of the action that you can take to make a sale is all about sales. Make as much money as you can, as quickly as you can. Then you can deal with all of your other problems in style, right? So that, like, focus on sales. The mistake that people fall into when they think I'm not taking the right action is that they go, need to perfect my logo. I need to change the wording on my website. I need to do some market research. Like, market research basically means go and have some lovely conversations with strangers and also people that know you who will lie to you. They lie. Everybody lies. Would you become a customer of mine? I'm glad you like my cake. Would you become a customer of mine when I start saying, like, oh yeah, I definitely buy your cake? They don't. They don't. Oh yeah, I definitely need a PA. Like, oh, you'll be the first person that I'll speak to, and I need. No, they won't. Market research, wrong kind of action. The action that's going to change everything is to get out there and pitch your idea, have conversations with actual humans, and sell. That's the thing. Like, if you, out of all of the skills to work on, selling is the number 1 skill that will change everything. So when it comes to the right kind of action, people, they do what I did in 2003. I sent 1 email, didn't get a reply for 2 weeks, got depressed. Got me about 4 weeks before I sent the second email. Oh, I didn't get a reply from that one either. I don't think my business idea is working. You have not got the right to say that your business idea isn't working until you've put it in front of 10 times the number of people that you think you need to. Don't send 1 email, send 100. Don't make 1 phone call, make 100. Don't send 1 text message, send 100, and keep going. And don't take 6 months to do it either. Do it quickly, so that expression, fail fast from fail cheap. That's what I mean by the right kind of action. It's weird, actually, because when you first start, we don't take that sort of action because we're a bit scared, we're a bit tentative, which is the opposite of the action that we actually need to take. So take a deep breath, put your brave pants on, and get out there and start selling. Right, I'm going to go through these questions now, folks. By the way, we are going to launch a range of Rebel brave pants, and we will send you a link. Right. So Kathy says, with them paying up front, do you use an online app or just business bank details? Don't need a business bank account, Kathy, unless you're a limited company. You don't want to be a limited company unless you're making around 70, 80 grand a year. Otherwise, you'll pay more tax. Like, mainly, like, that's the headlines. There might be some other reasons. So when I first start with a side hustle, I tend to use PayPal just because it doesn't cost me any money up front. I upgrade to a business PayPal, free, and then I pay 2.9% on every transaction. And then, because this is the kind of guy I am, I up my prices by 3%. So the customer pays that extra 2.9, not me. So that's how I would start. And any old current account will do, like a Monzo or a Starling. Don't need a business account, or a Revolut. I like those ones because you can set them up quite quick and run it off your phone. Dawn, so with regards to website and listing your products and services, would you just pick 1 or 2 and put them all on? I understand when talking to someone, keep it short. Okay, lovely. Right, Dawn, what you're going to do is go, I do PA and administrative services. That's my business. And then the first thing that you read on your website is, do you need help with managing your diary and managing the volume of emails? My name's Dawn. I'm an experienced and super productive, fabulous PA. If you'd like to have a conversation with me, please click the link to find out more. Next section on your website. Here's the 5 mistakes that business owners make when they're struggling with their end of year accounts. They're just not organized. They need help with receipts. They, a little bit of value add on your website. And you can talk about the different aspects of what you do. But over the top, everybody knows that you do PA and administration. What would be super helpful is who you're going to do it for. It might be that, if you've got experience working in the construction industry, like I picked that off the top of my head because I know 1 or 2 builders. I know how bad they are with emails and bits of paper. They need extra help with it. So maybe as an industry that you could put your focus into that might help. And it tends to be, based on where your experience sits, kind of makes sense. It's like life coaches come to me and they go, I'm really excited about doing my life coaching, and the audience that I'm targeting is people with a PhD in oceanography. And I go, oh, wow, is that your background? No. Oh, why have you chosen them? I just thought it would be fun. Well, what's your background? I've worked in retail for 25 years. Start with retail. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll add the oceanographers later, but start with your tribe, people that know you and the experience that you've had, and make sure that language is all over your website. Jacqueline, we cover pricing on our course. Actually, we spend a good hour on pricing. There's a number of factors in play. Have a think about what your competitors are charging, and see where your product or service compares with them. That's in my head. You've definitely got to make sure that you're making a profit. Otherwise, it's a hobby or a charity. Expensive hobby or a charity. We don't want that. But I'm going to invite you to join our course. We've also got some podcast episodes on pricing on the Rebel Entrepreneur podcast, Jacqueline. What about when your customers are recharging really low prices, says Emma, for similar services, like on Etsy? It's heaving with low prices, and I feel I need to undercut mine. Emma, don't play that game. That's like a race to the bottom, right? Now, what drives that for all of us is that we're a little bit worried that we're not going to make sales, and we're a little bit worried about what other people are doing. There is plenty of business out there for all of us. And the example I often give about pricing, like if you saw a pair of silver earrings for £7, you'd probably go, I don't think they're great quality silver earrings. Like anyone that buys silver, you go, I don't think they're probably actually silver, are they? Did this as an experiment on one of our courses. Like when she wasn't looking, I added a 0 to the price tag that she'd put on her earrings. I mean, these are £70. Now the earrings hadn't changed, but suddenly your attitude to those earrings has changed, hasn't it? So if I see the price is too low, I'm probably going to think it's not very good quality. Pricing is psychological. Price buoyantly. Charge what you think you should be charging. Charge what you charge in 2 years if you're running a successful business, because actually people are less likely to want your product if they think it's crap quality. All right. So hopefully that helps. But again, come on one of our courses and we'll help you figure it out. Andrea, bless you for that. I'll pay you later. We all need to take action. Yes, says iPad Pro 10.5. I agree, 100%. I'm a cosplayer, entertainer, love putting a smile on people's faces. Going on the logic of your suggestions, I know where my future lies. This would be to go into entertainment. Is this right? The thing about this, John, I love your question. The thing about this is pick your audience, as in who is the customer that's most likely to pay you cash, and go and pitch something and see if you can make money. And I think what happens is it's impossible to know which direction you're going to go in. There are some clues. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. And the rest of the staircase is going to reveal itself to you. All right. But once you get the first sale, it then points you in the direction of what you need to do next. Right. And until that point, like we're making it up, it's just a guess. So point yourself towards making a sale, whatever that means. Whether that's, someone booking you for a party, whether that means, going into partnership and putting on an event, or, whatever that means for you. We're trying to figure out what is it that I could actually sell. As soon as you get a sale, then it tells you what you need to do next. Mark says, my idea is a space where people can discuss anything. How would I go about doing that? Mark, find a space that someone can lend you for free, whack something on at Eventbrite and see who turns up. That would be my first port of call. Option 2 is go to someone that's already got a space and an audience and run a little pilot and see how it gets on, see how you get on. Again, come on a course. There's been 29 messages since I've been talking, folks. I can't keep up with you lot. Right, here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm not going to get to all of those questions. I'll answer one more. Just before I answer, I'm going to share this link with you. So you go to the website, rebelschool.com/events. If you're from Kent or Westminster or Enfield or some of the other locations where we're running geographic specific events, either online or in the room, sign up for one of those if you see your area. If you don't see your area, keep scrolling, and the thing that you're looking for is there's an orange band across the page. Let me just get the right thing up here. If you don't see your area, you're looking for, what I'm going to do is actually, I'll just stop the share for a sec. Here's what you're looking for. So rebelschool.com/events. And when you land on the page, it's going to look like that at the top of the page. Scroll down a bit. You'll see some of the other courses that we've got, and you'll see Kent, Westminster, Milton Keynes, Market Traders and Enfield and so on. If your area isn't there, this is the bit that you want, Rebel Business Nation. And it runs for 2 weeks, 10 till 3 every day. Click that button, fill in the form, and then you'll get sent a Zoom link to join us. It's a 2-week course. You don't have to come every day. Make the first day if you can, and then cherry pick the other days that make sense to you. Okay. So that's how to get involved with Rebel School. And what I've given you in the last hour, we go into lots more detail. Not only that, I don't talk consistently for the whole time. I actually leave you some space to think about things too. Like, you know, imagine that. It's all right, James. Don't worry. I've got you. I've got your back, pal. I've got your back. Thanks, Kim, for popping the link there. Yes, there is, Marianne. There is a way to connect. I just saw your, like, how do you connect with other people? Like, jump in our Facebook support group. I'm sure Kim will pop the link in the chat just before we finish. We've got a Facebook support group. We've got 5,000 or 6,000 people in there. You can find your tribe in there, people that do the same sort of thing as you. Andrew, I knew you have a PhD in marine biology. That's exactly why I used that example. What are the chances, eh? What are the chances? Good. Right. So I think we'll stop there, folks. We're going to harvest the questions from the chat. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Keep an eye on our Instagram and Facebook page over the next couple of weeks. And we'd love you to connect with us there. And well, it's been lovely. I've loved this conversation. It's been one way. That's my favorite kind of conversation. I'm just kidding. I hope you've got something from that, everybody. Thank you so much for giving up an hour of your time, and hope to see you on the Rebel Nation course in November, or indeed one of our others. Catch you later.